Reset Podcast. And now your host, Jake Naraki.
What is going on, Reset Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Operation Self Reset. I am Jacob Naraki. Like always, you guys rock. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Today, we have an awesome interview with Derek Rydell. He has a new book coming out. I'm going to let him share all the details, but he has probably, hands down, literally, my hands are down right now, the best definition or the best way to find your passion. Legitly, like, as you know, passion is a hot topic. Everybody wants to know, Jake, what's my passion? How do I find my passion? Yeah, I read a book on passion, but I still don't know what my passion is. Well, Derek has the answer for you, and I guarantee it, he's going to open your eyes and at least start moving you in a direction, because there is no specific one-step solution to finding your passion, but I know the way that he breaks it down and identifies what your passion could be is a great start. So with that, let's go into the interview. But before we do that, actually, I'm going to pull back the reins, and I actually want to share with you guys a daily joke. Now, these jokes, to forewarn you, are not going to be funny. They're going to be silly, ridiculous, obvious, and you know what? You're probably not going to laugh, and you're probably going to smirk and go, that was really silly and stupid. But it's not about how good the joke is. It's about how it affects you. I read recently that jokes stimulate the mind. That jokes actually release endorphins into your body. It makes you focus. It allows you to feel a little bit happier. And the great thing about jokes is that you're able to go and share them with your coworkers when you get to your job, or you can share it with your wife or spouse or kids or whatever. So everybody can enjoy the benefits of a joke. Have you guys, all right, here's the joke. I guess I should set it up a little better, but considering this is my first time telling a joke, well, at least over a podcast, I should forewarn you. So here we go with the first joke. Have you guys heard of the new broom? No, you haven't probably, huh? Well, it's sweeping the nation. But yeah, I know, lame, but you know what? Just go with it. Let it flow, smile, act like you're happy, act like it was the funniest joke you ever heard in your life, and I guarantee it, you're going to see some cool results happen in your life, especially on your way to work, throughout your day. And when things get tiresome and lonesome and you're angry and depressed and you're hating life, reflect on that joke. And maybe it'll bring a little smile to an otherwise dreary day. So today, let's get into the interview. You know, enough with the jokes, enough with the laughter, okay? If you're out there laughing still, stop it, because it's time to get serious. We're going to be talking with Derek and finding your own personal passion. You guys got any questions for me? You know where to contact me. I'll add that at the end of the interview. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Hey, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have on Derek Rydell. He is launching a book, early 2015, Emergence, the 7 Steps for Radical Life Change. We're going to be diving into so many topics that are, it's probably going to spin your brain a little bit, but that's good because it's 2015, early. It's time for you to get your life on track, make it the best year yet, and I'm pretty sure Derek has some awesome ideas, insight, inspirational ways to get yourself ready to tackle the year ahead. Derek, how are you?
I am great, my brother. It's great to be here. Just really an honor and a privilege.
Yes. I always ask kind of a general question to open up the show. I don't always do this, but what do you have planned for 2015? What's your big goal? Obviously, you got a book here, but What else is on the to-do list? Maybe something you haven't spoke of a lot, something a little more personal?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You know, there is something I haven't really spoken a lot of. I mean, for me, 2015 is a year of a new level of authenticity, a new level of letting go of old identities. It's really a new birth for me. 2015 will be, and it's also a year of really stabilizing the foundations of my life and in my work in the world. In terms of one of my mottos, you know, has been for a long time: do only what only you can do, and then delegate, automate, or eliminate the rest.
Nice.
And it's a principle in nature. You know, you don't see, you know, oak trees trying to do the work of pine trees and squirrels trying to do the work of jaybirds, but you do see humans trying to do a lot of things that they weren't really designed to do. And So it makes us very inefficient, ultimately ineffective. It burns us out, it overwhelms us, and it doesn't allow us to leverage the full capacity of our genius and our potential. So for me, and I've been working toward this for a while, but 2015 is really a year where I really lay the roots and the systems and a level of surrender of control actually, to allow that to be even more my experience.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, we try to do too much, but when you really boil it down to the nature aspect, that was a really good example. Really good example of
Yeah,
showing that you can't do everything, you know?
if nature tried to act the way humans act, multitasking and doing all the work of different species and stuff, it would be utter chaos.
Right.
It would destroy itself in a weekend, you know.
Oh, for sure.
Uh, and the only thing is that human beings have such a capacity for resilience and adaptation that we can trick ourselves into thinking that we're online, we're congruent, and we're doing things right because we can do so much with our mind to not be conscious of how off track or out of inner integrity we might be. And nature doesn't have that ability. So if it was to live out of integrity and congruence with its true nature, it would destroy itself. We do it in a very long-term levels of self sabotage, and we'll certainly talk more about that today, about the importance of really getting a deeper inner congruence with who and what we really are and what we're really here to be and do and contribute. It's fundamental to our ability to be fulfilled, to be joyful, and to make a major impact in our personal and professional lives.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, man, a great way to break it down. I think a lot of people can resonate with that. Let's talk about the book. Obviously, that's what you're here for. I think it's going to be a very powerful book when it comes to informing people on what you believe is kind of your thoughts on these seven principles. But let's take it back a second. Now, what if we were at Barnes& and Noble and I saw you, I'm like, Derek, what's up, my man? How are you? Like, good, Jay, good. Yeah, man, everything good? Yeah. And we're browsing books together. And you're like, hey, you got to check out this book. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, whoa, you wrote it? Give me the pitch. Let me know what made you write this book? What you crawled within you and said, man, I'm going to sit down for a year. How long did it take you to write? Year and a half, 2 years?
This book has been actually several years in the making.
Okay. What crawled in you 7 years ago that said, I got to get this out. I got to get this on paper so everybody can read it and enjoy it. Give me that.
Yeah, so basically the principle that the book Emergence is based on is a principle that I coined some years ago called the law of emergence, as opposed to the law of attraction and these other
Right.
things. And basically for me, for like so many people, I spent years trying to fix my life and improve my life and heal my bad childhood and get over my heartbreaks and breakdowns. And after a decade of self-improvement, more than that really, and a decade of therapy and all this, the only thing I improved was my ability to eloquently articulate why I was so screwed up. So I got very good after all those years of therapy in describing all the reasons why my life wasn't working, but it still wasn't working. In fact, the intense effort to fix, change, and improve my life drove me to become addicted to drugs and alcohol, and almost killed me with an overdose. So, and I didn't die that first time. Then I had another experience where I almost drowned, and in that experience, something cracked open in me, and I had an awareness, an insight, a real Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, and I tried but couldn't put the shell back together again. And I ended up pulling out of society. I was actually going to become a monk, and because I had such a profound shift and break in my identity of what I thought was working and who I thought I was. But in the midst of that mess, a new message emerged. And what I could see was that the real self, our real self, whatever metaphor you want to use, whether you want to think in terms of psychologically, spiritually, the psyche is actually another name for soul. That's where it comes from. Whatever you want to call it, soul, psyche, that our real self is actually already complete and already perfect. And this is not a new concept. This has been spoken from Plato to Buddha to Lao Tzu to Jesus to Shakespeare probably.
I spoke of it too, so you can have
yeah. There you
Jay.
go. Oh, and Jake.
You're right.
Jake.
Yeah, Buddha to Jesus, right? And
Buddha
Jay.
to Jesus to Jake. And so but it's one thing to kind of know it intellectually. It was another thing to have a direct encounter with this perfection, a perfect pattern of infinite potential. And it radically shifted my paradigm of how life really operates. And I could see that so much of my efforts to fix, change, heal, improve, or attract a better life was actually the resistance that I was creating for the perfect pattern of my life that was naturally trying to emerge. And I suddenly could see, like I used the nature example, that just as the oak tree is already in the acorn, and the acorn doesn't have to go out and attract an oak or achieve an oak or fix its acornness into an oak or improve its acornness into an oak. When the acorn surrenders to the soil and the conditions in the soil match the pattern within the seed, oak naturally emerges. And that's true for every seed. When the conditions match the pattern of the seed, the inherent perfect pattern and potential naturally emerges. And the seed, the acorn, isn't a broken or inadequate oak. It's not a failed oak tree. It's a perfect acorn. And because we often think where we are now is inadequate to where we could be, but that's a lie. It's an illusion. So I could see all this. And so the law of emergence was this basic premise that there's already a perfect seed pattern of infinite potential planted in the soil of our soul. And when we create the right conditions that matches that pattern of who we really are, which is all about becoming congruent, that destiny of greatness, that potential naturally begins to emerge in our life. And this is true not just for our whole life in general, but for any area of our life, wealth, health, relationships, work. There is a perfect pattern, a seed idea that's trying to emerge, and it's leaving clues all over the place, and we just haven't necessarily seen them. And we've been trying to go out and get it or make it happen when we really need to get present with what it is and make it welcome.
Yeah, dude, that's good. It's deep, but I like that. I guess the follow-up question, the obvious question is, so how do we create the good conditions for our seed to blossom into this thriving thing that we want?
I have no idea, man.
What? Oh, come on.
I just gave you my best stuff, man. No, so that's a very important question. It certainly is. So when you understand that seed's already there, obviously, there's a couple of important things. When you're in the book, by the way, and the practice, which I call emergineering, which is about engineering the full emergence of your life or any aspect of it, it's very practical. Even though some of these concepts are philosophical, and you got to kind of, even though I'm sure for a lot of folks listening, it resonates. There's something about it that just makes you go, especially because you've been listening to Jay, but it makes you just go, something about this is true. And so there's some foundational concepts we're laying and shifting of paradigms, but the actual practice can be very practical. So the key is, the first thing you have to do, and it's really stage one of the emergence process, is you have to know what the vision for your life is, or for whatever area you're working on. You have to know what it is that's trying to emerge. You have to know what is the seed trying to emerge. And again, like I said, it's leaving clues all over the place. And one of the biggest clues is your deepest desires. Not necessarily just those passing fancies and fads, like I want a bigger TV screen and a better car, although those are leaving some clues. It might have to do with a higher level of confidence or abundance or comfort. So there is a quality trying to be, emerge in you, but it's more those burning desires. And for many of you, they bump up against your belief that it's not possible. Who am I? How is that possible? But it's starting with that burning desire. And from the emergence model, desire actually comes from a root that means of the sire, or of the father, or of the creative principle, or from the heavens. So it's a sign not of what's outside of you that you need to go get, but what's inside of you trying to get out.
Wow.
So that desire is, you're pregnant with something. And that burning desire is like the baby kicking, saying, I'm in here. But the way we've been trained is exactly the opposite. That's why I call this the end of self-improvement. It's the exact reverse of how we've been taught. We have a burning desire and think we now are missing something that we need to go get. And that's kind of like a pregnant woman who's pregnant, the baby's kicking, and she goes, oh my God, I want a baby so bad. And she tries to go out and make a baby happen. Now that would look a little crazy, right? Eventually the nice men in white coats with really good upper body strength would come and, gently escort her away. Right. So that would be a very crazy activity to do it. And that's how so many of us humans are walking around. We're pregnant with the next stage of our potential, and we're out trying to make it happen. But when you know you're pregnant, what do? You start to nurture and nourish and cultivate and connect with that's already within you trying to be born. And you create the inner conditions and the outer environment to make it congruent, to make it welcome. And you grow that child until it's ready to be born in your life. And the exact same thing is true with us. So the desire is the first clue.
Sure. Wow. I never expected anybody to use. My wife is pregnant, actually. We're due in February, so very close.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so this example is very true to my life right here. So every time you're speaking of, I'm like, wow. I don't think I've ever talked to somebody that used pregnancy as an example, but it is so absolutely pure with what you're trying to portray and talk about, man. So good job. So I'm sorry. Keep on going.
Yeah, and I want to say a really good example. I have 2 children. So I went through
Yeah,
that
nice.
a couple times. And when a woman is pregnant, and even with the husband, let's just say the woman though, she's doing a lot of things. She's feeding the child. She's eating a certain way. She's changing her lifestyle to really honor what she's pregnant with, right?
Right.
So she doesn't just go, I'm pregnant. Let me just keep going out, drinking, smoking, partying,
True.
whatever,
True.
driving race cars, whatever a woman does
Right.
when she's, she starts to change the conditions of how she takes care of herself, how she treats this thing that's being born. She feeds herself extra vitamins. She does certain kind of exercises.
Right.
She also begins to create an outer environment that matches what her future will be. Okay? She also begins to imagine and visualize what it will be like to be with this new child and this extended family and this expanded life. So she's doing all these things that we've learned in self-help, like visualization.
Oh, for sure.
But here's the big difference, and this is not a small semantic difference. I want everybody to catch this because everything is about the power of our mind and our consciousness. She's not doing any of that to make a baby happen. She's doing all of that to be present, aligned, congruent with the baby, with the reality that a baby is happening. But when we, as people on a path of self-improvement, do it, we are visualizing, creating outer environments, doing all these kinds of things, sometimes crazy, but we're doing all of it to make something happen. We're doing all of it from the premise that it's not already true, that I don't already have it, that it's not already happening. And that distinction alone is the whole game. Because the fundamental premise is I don't have it, it's not working, something's lacking, something's missing. From that premise, because you ultimately don't get what you do, you get who you are. Because from that premise now, you go out and try to do all these incredible things, but to he or she who is wrong in mind, they can do all the right things, it'll still turn out wrong. To he or she who is right in mind, they can do all the wrong things, it'll still turn out right. Because the cause of your life is your state of consciousness. So, and that's also why one of those masters that you're on the list with, Jake, Jesus,
Yes,
said, when you pray, pray believing that you already have it, that you may receive it. Yeah. So, and that wasn't a metaphysical trick. It was a truth about us, a principle that you already have it, you already are it, you're pregnant with it. Now you can use a lot of these tools and some other more specifically aligned emergence tools to actually now become a perfect conduit and match for the thing that's trying to be born through you. And that shift, again, it's so fundamental. What I've seen when I've done this work with literally hundreds of thousands of people around the world now is that the problem is that when you're trying to do all this stuff, you may even manage to muscle yourself into a bigger paycheck, but you end up becoming broke at a higher income bracket because you've brought that false self-concept with you. The self-concept that I'm not enough, something's wrong, something's missing, something's lacking. You use all these tools, attraction, manifestation, achievement, success. You manifest a better paycheck and you find that you're still broke. Or you manifest a new house and you find that you're even less at home. Or you manifest a new relationship and you're in the same arguments. Or you manifest a new job and somehow that jerky boss is there again, just wearing a different costume. I remember one woman, she manifested a new house to move away from earthquake country only to run into tornado country. And it took her house out.
Sure.
So wherever you go, there you are. And if you're bringing that false premise that something's broken, missing, lacking, or wrong with you, and you don't already have it, then no matter what tools and techniques you use, you will always continue to manifest. It's like I like to say, it's why the average person doesn't live 60 to 90 years or 70 to 90 years. They live the same year 70 to 90 times.
Huh.
Because they may change their scenery, change their costumes, change relationships, change jobs, change underwear, hopefully,
Right.
but they end up in the same story. And so now more than ever, as we're embarking on a new year, for us to have a truly new year, you need to have a new you. And to have a new you, you have to stop trying to fix yourself and start waking up and realizing the perfection and the amazing power and potential and perfect pattern that's already in you and that really is you. Get on track with that and start to bring that forth into your life.
Interesting. That very it puts the self-help industry on its side. I mean, you really are taking a different approach at it, and it's really it's kind of crazy. I mean, a nice job for figuring that out. I think it's true. Obviously I'm in the personal development space, and we speak of affirmations, visualization, creating your outcomes, all that stuff. But what you're trying to say is that we already have all that stuff, or excuse me, instead of asking for the next thing, be comfortable with what you have inside of you. And focus on that more, correct? Am I following that?
Well, yeah. And it turns the self-help and self-improvement industry on its head, but it doesn't turn the universal principles on their head. The self-improvement industry turned it on its head first and got it inside out. And this work is just turning it back, right side in again.
Okay.
And it's not just about just be happy with where you are.
Right.
That's
okay.
certainly that's an aspect of creating the right conditions. Yes. Because a state of gratitude, a state of having, a state of well-being is a key nutrient to cultivate into the soil of your heart and your soul
Sure.
and your mind. Because if you don't have that quality of gratitude and well-being and enoughness, you're saying, in essence, I'm not enough, I don't have enough, life isn't enough. And because you don't get what you want, you get who you are in mind, you will keep creating that state of consciousness no matter how much you get. And I'm telling you, I know some very, very financially rich people that are incredibly poor. I know some very, successful people that feel like failures. So what's the difference? And I know some very people that feel incredibly rich and successful that don't have a lot, and they are truly living life at its fullest. And so it's not about the stuff, it's about the state. And it's about, like you said, doing affirmations and all that. All these tools are wonderful tools when they're done in the context of the truth that you already have it all, that you already are it all, and you're going to use all of those to become a mental, emotional, energetic match for what you already are. Another way to use the analogy is like, right now you're all surrounded by and inundated and enveloped in broadcasts,
Right.
frequencies. And your favorite music and information that would change your life, hopefully this is one of the stations that's doing that,
Yeah, hopefully.
this podcast, is that it's broadcasting all around you right now. Like information, ideas, and music that if you could suddenly hear it, you would be dancing and singing and grooving to the beat of abundance, to a symphony of success. You would be like rocking. But unless you tune the dial to that station where that music is playing, it's as if it doesn't exist for you. But the minute you tune your dial to that station, that music becomes manifest. Now, and that's why I like to call it your manifestation. It's not in your,
Sure.
it's not in your future. But here's the key point. That music wasn't in your future, and it wasn't in the distance. It was playing right where you are. You just weren't tuned into that frequency. Now, we all understand that. What we now know from quantum physics is the same exact thing is true for the music of our heart, for that like I said, that symphony of success, that activity of abundance. It's like you're tuned into K-Rich, K-R-I-C-H, or K-L-A-C-K, K-Lac. And so the minute you tune in to that frequency where your joy and peace and love and power and confidence actually is already playing, you now have access to a level of insight, inspiration, energy, power, and ideas that you don't have access to when you're tuned into lack and limitation and fear and separation, and I'm not enough, I don't have enough. That's playing on K-Lac. On K-Rich is all these other qualities. So that analogy holds true for us. So all of those tools and techniques, visualization, affirmations, they're about, first we have to know what is the station that we want to tune into. That's our vision. That's our deepest desire. Then we have to use these tools to tune into it. Again, we're not tuning into a radio station to make the music happen. We're tuning in it to make the music that's already happening welcome. And the same thing we're doing for ourselves. And so that's again, it's not merely semantics. This is the whole ball game. This is what quantum physics has been trying to tell us. This is what all the great master teachers and philosophers have been trying to tell us,
Right.
is that it's already within us, but we've been conditioned to leave the center of our true power and our true nature and go out and try to make something happen. And we've been trying to fix, change, and improve a self that doesn't actually exist.
Sure.
It's a fiction. And so, that's the core shift. And it's radical. That's why it's called 7 Steps for Radical Life Change. But like so many things that have been radical before, it's only radical because it's shattering an old paradigm. But actually, it's the most natural thing in the world. Just like it's not radical that you plant a seed and water, weed, and feed it, and that was inherent in it naturally emerges. We don't go, oh my God, that's radical. But that's what happens for us.
Yeah.
And I want to say one other thing about affirmations. Another way to think of it is, as I call them, not affirmations, but affirmations. Instead of affirming, you're an F4, like it's something for something, you're trying to get it. I say it's an affirmation, meaning you are not saying your affirmations to try to make it happen. You get in touch with that it's already happening, and you're announcing what's already true. Whereas a lot of times when we do affirmations, and the same thing with prayer, if people pray in any way, you're not praying for anything, you're praying from.
Yeah.
It's always from. It's always I have it, I am it. You do the work, which we'll talk about some other things, to get in touch with it, to feel that it's already happening. Then you think, speak, and act from that space of it's already done. You're already it. Now you're tuning into the station where your music is playing, and it begins to manifest in your life.
Oh, for sure. Wow, Derek, this is awesome information. You obviously are, man, I don't even, lots of words, to be honest with you. You are a man that has done his research and really have dug deep into this stuff. I guess the question, to boil this back to the listener that's driving in their car, walking, running, cleaning, whatever, they're wanting to have that sense of, I know what I want. And to go back to that, I know you spoke of, obviously, it's all around us. The TV example, all that stuff. Give us a little more depth there, though, because, that's the one thing. People, you go on TED Talks or YouTube, you type passion in, and there's a million videos, million blog posts, million podcasts, all that stuff, talking about how to find your passion, how to get there, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
What? Give me a little more sense of what you believe to get to that level, to have that seed, know what the seed is, and then to develop it.
It's so funny. Just as you said that, I looked down on my calendar where I'd scribbled the words, amongst many others. It said, find your passion, live your purpose, make an impact. So funny. I just literally looked right down at the words. As you said, there's so many things about passion.
Right.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite topics. And when I work with people personally in my group coaching or on hot seat calls or whatever, I can help them tap into their purpose and passion, not in months, but in minutes, because like I said, the clues are everywhere.
Sure.
And so the one of the things is, again, that deepest desire. That deepest desire is a clue of what's in you already. And by the way, in terms of one other little thing about how do you get congruent once you do know what your vision is a principle I like to say is surround yourself with the people, places, things, inside and out, that represent where you want to be, not where you've been and not where you are.
Yeah, good point.
Most of us have strategies for coping and surviving and getting by and protecting ourselves. And we built a life strategy based on that. And so our inner and outer environment, our conversations, our relationships, the TV, the media, everything we expose ourselves to has some element of representing our past or our present coping mechanisms. And you cannot solve a problem with the same level of thinking and acting that created the problem. So you have to begin to surround yourself with people, places, things, and activities that represent your future, that represent your vision. If you were living that higher vision and better life, who would you hang out with? What kind of conversations would you have? What kind of things would be in your environment? What kind of people, places, and things would you not have in your environment? And little bit by little bit, designing or engineering that way of life, that's one of the ways to accelerate your emergence. And by the way, at the end of this, we'll talk about, I'm going to give people a free in-depth training to help them really go into this even more. But in terms of other ways to discover what is your true passion and purpose, because of the nature of the psyche, as you were growing up, you were having experiences, and based on your experience, you had everything in you, and it was naturally beginning to emerge. And then you had experiences that told you this wasn't possible, you couldn't be this,
Yes.
or you felt shame
Totally.
or fear, around
Insecure, awkward, right? All that stuff.
exactly. You were expressing a unique ability, and you got called a freak, or
Right.
you stood up and spoke some way, and your parents said,
Don't speak like that.
exactly. And you may not even remember these right now. When I work with people in depth, I help them to discover those very quickly. But those caused you to begin to repress, suppress, block parts of you that are clues and qualities to your true destiny and your true greatness and your true potential and power. And then what you did is you began to create other elements to counterbalance it, called coping mechanisms or masks.
Sure.
And so as you go through life, what happens, the nature of the psyche, is everything that's been repressed must still be expressed. But when you've repressed it, it gets projected. So one of the ways to know who you are in terms of your greatness is to look at, and it's called the soul profile. And I invite everybody just to play along right now. And, think of 3 to 5 people, living or no longer living in this particular world, that really inspire you, that you really admire. Maybe you're even jealous of them. You just think they're amazing in some way. One of those great masters we talked about, or some great artist or leader or art media person or whoever, historical person. But like when you think about them, when you read about them, when you experience their talents, gifts, and abilities, you're in awe. But it's not just an appreciation awe. It's like you feel this pull, you feel this attraction, you feel this, oh my God, I wish I knew them, or oh my God, I wish I was like them, or oh my God, they're amazing. And if you could imagine them, being suddenly meeting them, you'd be like a teenager at a rock concert. Just imagine those 3 to 5 people. And again, it could be people like Buddha, Jesus. It could be people like Shakespeare, Oprah, Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, Mother Teresa, or Beyonce, whatever. And just imagine now, when you think about them, what are the qualities about them that you most admire? And write those down. It might be like Oprah's humility, Oprah's amazing impact, Shakespeare's incredible genius at expressing the human nature in art, or the service ethic of Mother Teresa, or the ethic of social justice in Martin Luther King, or whatever. And or just that person's incredible eloquence, or their speaking ability, or their wealth creation ability, or their focus, their determination. Like, what are the qualities about them? And then what is it about their story that really touches you? Like, oh my God, they were willing and are willing to do whatever it takes, no matter what they've been through. Or, oh my God, they're happy no matter what. Or they've come from nothing and been able to rise like the phoenix from the ashes. What is it about their story that really touches you? And write some notes down about that. And then what is it about their message, if they have a message? And it might just be the message of their life, which is part of their story, or it might be something specific like Oprah or Gandhi or Jesus or Mother Teresa or Barack Obama or whoever. What is it about their message? Write that down. And what about their talents, if you haven't already articulated those? What are some people that you're just like, oh my God? And it's not just like, something, you just appreciate their talent, but it's like, there's a real pull there. Like, wow, they're just an amazing, parent, or an amazing lover, or amazing friend, or something, or just an amazing writer. And just write those things down, And again, if you're just playing along while you're driving and you're not writing, you're kind of thinking about these things right now. They're all kind of floating around in a collage, a kaleidoscope in your mind. Now, here's what I want you to know. What you've just described isn't them. What you've just described is a projection of your unintegrated power and potential.
Mm.
Because you could not see it, you could not appreciate it, and have that pull if it wasn't already in you. It's like when they did that thing where you strike a violin on stage and you amplify it, and all the violins in the orchestra start vibrating to that same note. If you remove those notes from those violins, you can strike that violin on stage till the end of time, and those violins aren't going to vibrate. So the only reason you're vibrating with these people is because you're seeing you.
Interesting.
And if I could work with you right now, and I invite you to do this just for fun right now, is imagine saying, I am, and then read all those things together kind of in a fun way that is saying, I am. So it's like, imagine those ones I just mentioned. I am a person who is able to rise out of any situation, no matter what, and do whatever it takes to triumph and succeed. I am a brilliant speaker and writer and creator with a heart of such love and compassion and with such amazing humility and impact. Okay, so I'm just giving you an example.
Right.
And an incredible wealth creation. So I'm just pulling those qualities together. Now, if you do that, you're going to start to feel that on some level, yes, this is true about you. This is what you've dreamed of being. This is who you really are in the depths of your heart and soul. And then if you want to know one other thing, take the thing in the world that really angers you the most or breaks your heart the most. It's like you hear it on the talk shows or the radio and it just drives you crazy. You're yelling at the talk shows or you're just brokenhearted. You just can't stand to listen to it. You got to turn it off. Or maybe it's something that people do, and whenever they're doing it, it just drives you crazy. And I mean, like, for example, they're always being victims, or they're always talking down about themselves, and there's just something, right?
Right.
And so maybe it's a cause like women's rights or child slavery or animal rights or torture or something politically, or maybe it's just drives you crazy when people act like victims or when they don't honor their dreams. I call this the heartbreak bridge. So just take that now and now say, if I could be the person I've just described in this first part of this exercise with all these qualities, if I was that person with those talents and those qualities, and I could make a major difference and impact in this area that angers me or saddens me the most, and I could do it in a way that truly sings my heart and soul, that was successful, that was fun, what would that look like in the world? Who would I be? What would I do? How would I show up and contribute? What could be possible? And just let that begin to bubble up. And now you'll begin to discover and tap into what might very well be your path, your passion, and your deepest purpose. Now, we're doing this in a few minutes.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But again, if you followed along, for some of you, you're already having major insights into who you really are and what you're made of. Now, what happens now is for a lot of you, all of that energy that's being activated, your true purpose, your true, what I call soul purpose blueprint, this seed pattern is getting activated. It's bumping up against that protective shell, that seed shell of who you think you are, what you think's possible, what you think's not possible.
Yes.
And you might be hearing things like, that's impossible. How would I ever do that?
Right.
There's no way that, look at where I've come from. People will think I'm crazy. Who the hell do you think you are? That is what I call your thresholds. And we won't be able to get into all that today. That's stage 6 in the emergence process. I'm going to teach you about that in this free training, though.
Okay.
I'm going to walk you through all the steps. And of course, in the book, I walk you through all the steps, step by step, in depth, on how to take it from this place all the way through those thresholds, all the way into a plan that you can act on and that you can be in alignment with and congruent with. But just know that if right now all that stuff's coming up, that's a good sign, and that's your thresholds, and that pattern is what's kept you stuck and what unconsciously sabotages your success whenever you start to bump into that desire and into that vision. It's also what I call the vision blinders. It's what prevents us from clearly seeing and fully committing to the true vision of our heart, whether that's the vision in our relationship, the vision of what we want to create in our work, with our body, with our money. It bumps into these. But the emergence process uncovers all of those and step by step begins to release them or integrate them in a way that they become your ally and not your enemy.
Wow, that was probably the best answer to the classic question of finding your passion. I mean, really, obviously this is just a podcast. I mean, this is not a one-on-one coaching session. This isn't, at a seminar for a week. This is just a half an hour here of information. But truly, the what you shared was really, really good, because there's a lot of people out there that, even though they hear from other individuals, how do I find my passion? They're still asking that same question. So I really think that with your explanation, and the things that you say that are in the book, and in the free training that you're going to be giving everybody in a little bit here, I think anybody that has ever asked themselves that question and or still unsure of what their purpose is, my God, you got to invest invest the money into this book and really dive deep and figure it out. Because if you've been craving this answer, I have interviewed numerous individuals on this subject, and this has been by far the best answer to such a classic question, and a lot of people discuss it, so wow, really profound. Where did you learn this stuff from? Is this just a collaboration of all different things that you have pulled together from different ideas and people and thoughts? I mean, where did you get this stuff from?
Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of pain and suffering, and having to, dig deep in those moments where nothing is working. And I have had to have, a level of surrender that was real and profound, not the kind of, negotiating surrender, like, God, if you get me out of this, I promise I'll go to church on Sunday. It's the kind of, it's like, really letting go and going, there's got to be a deeper truth here. There's got to be a better way here. So it's been a lot of the laboratory of my own heart, my own soul. Like I said, I was going to become a monk, and I tried to go to a monastery. That didn't quite work out. Just a quick side thing. I went there and I fasted and I retreated in silence for several days. And about few days into the fasting and retreating in silence, I was going literally crazy. I broke into the monk's kitchen.
Oh, Jesus.
In the middle of the night and stole food out of the refrigerator.
Nice.
Like some little feral creature coming out of the woods. And so I decided, okay, maybe the monk life.
Right. Yeah. Here's your sign. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did end up, really kind of cloistering myself in my apartment and going and really getting rid of TV and news and everything, and just reading only the great spiritual and, success literature of the real perennial classics, and meditating and journaling and just doing this inward journey for probably 2 or 3 years. That's all that I did. And I just went in and took these great, philosophical, spiritual texts and went within and, line by line, throwing them across the room at times and wrestling with my angels and demons and getting pinned to the floor over and over again, and beginning to have these breakthroughs and these insights, and then being drawn to other certain external teachers and things that added and and it's an ongoing process.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But that was really, it was me going, and I say this to everybody: don't listen so much to just what I'm saying, but tap into what I'm listening to, and begin to listen to everything that's out there, but let it filter through an inner intention, an inner affirmation, which is, more than I want to fix, change, heal, improve, attract, or control my life, I want to know the truth that makes me free. I want to see it the way it is in reality with a capital R. I want to wake up to the truth. I want to know who I really am, why I'm really alive. More than I want to fix, change, heal, improve, or control my life, I want to wake up to the truest nature of my life. So that's what I call a prayer of awakening. And it begins to make you a candidate for true wisdom and to reconnect you to your true power. Because so many of us have given our power away to politicians and people and parents and peers and priests and whatever. And none of them has your answers, not really. If anything I'm saying is resonating with you, it's because in this moment, to go down the rabbit hole just a little bit further, in this moment, I'm really a projection of your own inner teacher. Otherwise, you couldn't hear it, you couldn't resonate with it. So whatever truth I'm saying that you're going, something about that just resonates, it's touching me, even if it's freaking me out and confusing me and scaring me,
Right.
it's touching something. It's because you're getting in touch with a part of you, with your own innate wisdom. And same thing when you read a book, listen to anybody. All of life is a mirror. All of life is a reflection of who we really are. Now, one little quick caveat to that, you might be going, well, what about all the stuff that pisses me off and hurts me and angers me? And that's all a reflection of who you are too. However, the good news is that there's the light shadow and the dark shadow. We were just talking about the light shadow, which is those positive projections. But the dark shadow is all those things that really push your buttons and anger you and drive you crazy, and you want to attack them and destroy them or get rid of them or judge them. Those also are very, very potent projections of your inner power, your inner gifts, your inner talents when you know how to work with them. And in the Emergence book, again, in stage 6, I walk you through how to transform those seeming enemies into very powerful allies on your team. How to take all those things that push your buttons and allow them to become things that really activate your potential. So,
Wow.
So it's very potent. So that's
Yeah.
ultimately the greatest realization of emergence is you begin to discover that everything has always been, is now, and forever will be conspiring for your greatest freedom and fulfillment. And when you get that and you begin to process your life and know how to process all the information and experience in that context, just like, the soil, what is the soil made of? It's made of everything that has died and decayed and rotted. That's what soil is made of.
Right.
And what is soil? It's the substance of all life.
Hmm.
So the darker and the smellier it is, the more junk has been put in it, the better it is, the more life it gives. So all the stuff that seems to be dead and decayed and rotten and bad and ugly and smelly and dirty in our past and in our present, emergence helps you take all of that and turn it into an inner compost pile to really have the richest soil in your heart, in your mind, and in your soul for that seed of potential to begin to just thrive and blossom like never before. So emergence shows you how to begin working with the heart, the garden of your heart, and harvest something like more than you've ever imagined. Whereas for most of us and most self-improvement, it's got us fighting all of that and getting rid of all those things that would make our life more fertile. And it's like I use the analogy of, like a forest. In the forest fires, the jack pine and other species, they need forest fires. The forest fires actually burn away all the dead wood and all the overgrowth, open up in the canopy for more light, burn away the glue that holds the pine cones locked shut and allows new seeds to come out for the forest to thrive and grow and expand.
Nice. Yeah.
If it wasn't for the forest fire, the forest would actually die.
Yeah.
And for us, we're trying to get rid of all the forest fires, or we're like a seed that's trying to get rid of all the dirt, right?
Right.
And if a seed got rid of all the dirt, when the sun came out, it would burn the seed to a crisp.
Right.
So emergence shows you how to take all of your life and use it to cultivate the right conditions for that seed of potential and power. And I'm telling you, it's bigger and better than you can imagine for it to begin to emerge in your life or in any area of your life. Like I said, this can be applied in a micro way as well as a macro way.
Right, right. Well, that's the cool thing. I mean, it's more than just specifics of wealth or relationships, or compassion. I mean, it's really resonates with each and every one of us to that deep core level. Wow, Derek, my man, good stuff. This is really powerful. I'm really going to have to take a look at this book. I obviously have, been in this space, you got to get your hands on different books and learn and stuff like that. And I think this is one for sure on the top of the list I'm going to dive into and read cover to cover because I'm resonating with a lot of the stuff that you're talking about. So I guess, first of all, how can the people get a hold of this free training that you're offering?
Yeah, so to get the free training, the emergence, it's an in-depth emergence video training. They can just go to www.emergencetraining.com. And so that's EM as in Mary, ERGEN as in Nancy, CE, and then the word training. So it's all one word, emergence training, EMERGENCETRAINING.com. And that will give you access to the whole training. And it will also give you access to be able to get my book in a way I think it's like a $10 or $11 book. It's really inexpensive. And for doing that, you're going to get another, I think it's a couple $1,000 in additional law of emergence training.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool thing. But the first part, just dive into the first part, get this foundational training. I'll walk you through some things and give you some even more clear step-by-step practical guidance. And then, of course, in the book, I walk you very step-by-step through how to apply this in very specific areas, like if you want to create more wealth or find that perfect relationship.
Sure.
Emergence is a framework that you just lay over that situation. And when you walk through it step-by-step, it does the same thing.
Cool. Derek, my man, everything that you said will be in the show notes. So if people are wondering the spelling or where to find you, we'll provide that. And how can people just get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, you can just go to obviously DerekRydell.com, DerekRyd as in David, ALL.com. So it's RYDALL and DEREK. And there's also, if you go into the free section there's some other free tools and downloads and stuff like that to support the emergence process.
Cool.
And, obviously you can go on Facebook, Twitter. I mean, we got a big community and we really respond and I'd love to get a chance. One of the free bonuses that will be part of this will give you a chance to also connect with me in person and, to help you tap into that purpose and that passion and take things to the next level in this new year.
Cool. I'm pretty sure this audience that's listening will look into your free resources and get a hold of this book because, like I said, I mean, just by you explaining the passion was huge to me. It was huge to me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people dug it too. So, Derek, my man, thank you so much. Really do appreciate your time. Good luck with everything. And when is the book coming out, and where can we find it?
So it's officially published on January 6th. You can pre-order it anytime up to that date, depending on when this is aired.
Yep.
And in stores and wherever books are found. Obviously Amazon is an easy way to get it, but you can also support your local bookstores. And if they don't have it, ask them to get it. That's a good way to support bricks and mortar bookstores, which we see are becoming fast extinct.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so it's a major book, Simon & Schuster and Beyond Words. And yeah, just come, let me support you. And I look forward to connecting with you all.
All right, Derek, appreciate it. Good luck with everything, and we'll keep in touch.
You got it, my brother. Take care, everyone.
Thanks again to Derek Rydell for coming on the Operation Self Reset podcast. Pretty interesting definition or how to find your purpose. I think he broke it down pretty cool. I think it will give a lot of you guys a starting point into discovering what it is that you personally enjoy or your personal desire or understanding why you feel you are on this planet. Why are you living? I don't know. That's pretty deep. And I don't want to get there. So I'm going to cut it short and say, regardless, if you loved what Derek was throwing down, head on over to OperationSelfReset.com and you guys can find all the show notes, everything that he talked about to keep yourself going for 2015. Because that's what it's about. It's about getting the ammo, the knowledge necessary to battle your way all the way to the end of 2015 with goals in your hand as your award. So with that, again, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. If you haven't already, could you please leave a review on iTunes? Head on over to iTunes, type in Operation Self Reset, and leave a review. If you haven't, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Every single review allows this show to get more exposure. And of course, I want this show to get bigger and bigger in popularity, not because I want to be worldwide famous podcasting dude, but because I really believe these people that I bring on this show can really help a lot of people out, So if you could take the second, I would be greatly appreciated. If you want to shoot me an email and just say, hey, Jake, I left you a review. Thanks for your work. Or you really stink. I left you a 1-star review. Regardless, I'll reply and I'll say thank you. And maybe we could chat. And if you needed some personal assistance somewhere, I could throw you some resources or some different ideas and things like that. So, like always, take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. Keep on kicking butt in 2015 here, and we will catch you in the next episode of Operation Self Reset. And don't forget, if you need a little more guidance in your life, head over to operationselfreset.com and sign up for the email list. And lastly, I sound like a broken record, but if you have a suggestion for somebody to come on the show, send them my way. I'd be greatly appreciated. If you heard somebody on a different podcast, you read a book, you want to talk to, or you want to hear the author on the show. If you talk to Obama, President Obama, and you're thinking, hey, he'd be a great guest on the show, let me know. I'll try to get him on. I don't know how easy that's going to be, but you know what? I'll do it for you, because this is what the podcast is all about. It's all about you, the listener, trying to reset, improve, and to build yourself to the better you. We'll see ya.